everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the award-winning Fan Show. Yes, I'd like to thank you all for joining me. We're trying things a little differently this time, as I have plugged in directly to my laptop, and we're going to see how this one sounds through this microphone, so it doesn't appear as though I'm shouting at all of you, because it's not the point, it's not the intent. I don't want to shout. I want to have a good conversation, productive conversation about all things football and nonsense. So, trying things a little differently today. I do not know if you could hear the intro theme. I don't know if the mute and unmute is controlled on here by Spreaker, or if you guys can hear pretty much everything. It's stuff to work out, but onwards and upwards. We're going to take this a step at a time, and we've got a lot to discuss. So it is Wednesday, and with Wednesday comes another great episode. We have a special guest, Coach Billy Back of the Carolina Cobras. We talked about them yesterday, but NAL season's right around the corner. In fact, it's like so close that if you don't look around the corner that it may be, you could run into it. It does kick off this weekend, Saturday. Turns out the times on the website are, in fact, in local time. So it is 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific that 2 of the 3 games will start, and the third one 30 minutes later, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time. We had a great chat, though, and I feel Cobras are as ready as any reigning champion can be heading into a new season where they will look to repeat, and that is no easy task. Only a few teams have done it, a few great franchises. Of course, in the indoor world, it's a little different. Obviously, Sioux Falls is sort of the standard there. They've claimed 10 championships. I believe 7 of those were in a row. And then also we had the Arizona Rattlers. The Rattlers are a team that they dominated in one league, and now they're coming back looking to dominate in another. They're repeat champions. Iowa looking to repeat for the first time in franchise history after winning their first championship in franchise history. So both Dixie Wooten and Billy Back in similar boats. One franchise, however, I feel was long overdue for a championship. The other one, they went and were added to the league, an expansion team. They ran through the league and they won the title, and that's impressive as well. So we will have our conversation with him coming up. Don't forget, if you want to hear that in its entirety, click that link right over there, or however you're watching it. It's somewhere around this thing right here, and you can listen to the rest of the show, the interview. And of course, the chat is open as always on Facebook Live and Spreaker.com. There's a chat feature there. And let's see, we already got a few people chiming in here. We've got James. Hello, James. Let's see. Sounds good to a half-deaf man. That's the point, right? I see Adam here dropping by to say hello. Can't stay, though. Got to get out now. Out of town before the 24-hour blizzard hits. Wow, we've got flooding here. Not here, but south of us, WSU, Washington State University area. So there's a lot of inclement weather going on right now. Thank you for joining me on this Wednesday, though, nonetheless. Let's go ahead and let's get to it. Let's do today's headlines. Headlines, of course, brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises. They do everything from stickers, hats, beanies. They even do jerseys. Not this one. This is the one I got from WrestleMania 28, the only WrestleMania I have been to, and we will actually talk about that on today's show. Story time! But they do stickers, they do banners, they do backdrops, they do tablecloths, they do just about everything. Phone cases, these little microphone blocks that you see, out on location, they do those as well. Really, if they haven't done it before, and you're wondering if they can, chances are they will, because they'll want to. They will want to continue to expand their catalog, and that is what Ethan and Dynamite Enterprises does. So if you need anything for promotional marketing or advertising reasons, really anything like that, as a gift or something for your team, for your squad, then go to dynamiteenterprises.com or reach out to Ethan directly, Ethan@dynamiteenterprises.com. And I see Chris Tatum has joined us. Hello, Chris. Good to see you. Well, sort of, anyway. So, yes, WrestleMania 28 was the only WrestleMania that I have been to so far. And the story about that one is my best friend, childhood best friend, we grew up wrestling. And here's a little backstory on that. We grew up watching wrestling and loved wrestling so much that our plan was to move to Arizona, get into ASU or one of the Arizona colleges, and we didn't really care about going to college because we were going to train at one of the schools down there to be wrestlers. We also talked about going to San Antonio to do that very thing as well. That didn't happen. We both went to Eastern. He enlisted in the Navy. I decided to tour in a band across the Pacific Northwest and have a great time doing that. But he was stationed overseas for a long time. But before he was stationed in Jacksonville, Florida. We were both fans of The Rock, both fans of Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, CM Punk, Chris Jericho, you name it. And when The Rock challenged John Cena and he accepted, he called me instantly. He's like, WrestleMania is going to be in Miami. That's a 4-hour drive for me. We got to go. And I said, you're absolutely right. We do have to go. So we went. My road to WrestleMania, a little different though. I spent 3 days, count them, 1, 2, 3, with minimal layovers, if you even call them that, on a Greyhound bus traveling from Spokane, Washington, or I guess for those of you watching, from Spokane, Washington, all the way down across the country to Jacksonville, Florida. And then we drove an additional 4 hours to Miami, Florida. It's not something I recommend that anybody do. But, God, scenery is gorgeous. I will admit that. The scenery between here and Florida is gorgeous once you hit Wyoming, Colorado. But then it does get a little flat and kind of repetitive in the Midwest. And then the accents get thicker and the IQs get a little smaller as you get more south. No offense to anybody who lives down south, but if you've ever been to Alabama, you may just... That's something, man. But came back the same route, and it was something that I think can't really be described unless you've done something similar to that, and something I hope to never do again. I do not like taking a Greyhound bus. I'll do it from here to Seattle every once in a while if it's short notice and I don't want to fly and I don't want to drive. I'll do Greyhound. But anywhere else, man, no. Won't do it. So... 3 days on a Greyhound bus, 4 more hours in a car. Jacksonville, lovely city. And then we went to Miami, and it was a hell of a time. If you've never been to a WrestleMania, you need to go to a WrestleMania. That's my advice for you. Because if you're a wrestling fan, it's one of those once-in-a-lifetime things, right? Because it's the showcase of the Immortals. It's the Super Bowl for wrestling, or is the Super Bowl football's WrestleMania? Well, there you go. There's the question we'll ask for you guys. Which is bigger, the Super Bowl or WrestleMania? While we continue story time here. So we went and we got to see Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus, all 5 seconds of it. We got to see Chris Jericho versus CM Punk for the WWE title. That was a great match. Wow, boy, was it ever. Then we got to see Triple H versus Undertaker for the end of an era, last time ever, with Shawn Michaels as special guest referee inside Hell in a Cell, and that was an amazing match. Should have been done there. No more. And then finally, the main event, we got to see John Cena and The Rock, and that place was incredible. It must have been one of WWE's favorite WrestleManias because they still show the flyover and the pyro, like multiple shots for a lot of their intros into Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown and pay-per-views. Like it's this specific one that they show, and I was there. So I got to say that I was there. I got to see a WrestleMania. Tailgating was insane. The people there are something else, but it was an experience of a lifetime. Strongly recommend that you go to a WrestleMania if you get the opportunity to. Chris Tatum says, WrestleMania, of course. I'm going to have to agree on that. And here's why. Here's why I will say that WrestleMania is bigger than the Super Bowl. Because although the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl, right? And even the most fair weather of football fans, people that don't even follow football, but they have a jersey of, of Barry Sanders or Dion or Emmitt Smith or Troy Aikman or Joe Montana, they'll come out of the woodwork to watch the Super Bowl with their friends, right? Potluck style, they'll contribute something to the cause. But football, though, is not the biggest sport in the world. European football, soccer actually is. It's more internationally known. That's why you don't see football outside the U.S. except for a few games over in Europe. But it's not on the scale that WrestleMania is. You may get people that will go to a Super Bowl from all over the world, but it's going to be a fraction of what you see flock to a WrestleMania. I mean, we're talking about an international event that WWE will travel and tour to all these different countries. So they've touched base all around the world, and that helps their fan base for the big show, right? WrestleMania, they all come together all under one roof or in the same stadium as it was this year. And I will say that is where WWE is different from the NFL. They know how to touch on an international level. You don't see that in the NFL. You just don't. I mean, this is the NFL, I've mentioned this before, is the only sport that says that it has a world champion, but it doesn't even have teams outside the U.S. like Canada. It doesn't have a single Canada team. And there's the CFL, but baseball, basketball, hockey, they all have at least one team outside the U.S. And the NFL doesn't. It's the U.S., but yet they're world champions. It's crazy. WWE, those guys are a world champion because they've been around the world. So, yes, Chris, you and I agree that WrestleMania is bigger than the Super Bowl. It's funny, though. People will fight you on that. They really will. So if you get a chance to go to a Super Bowl, please do so. This next one's going to be in Tampa, Florida. That stadium's probably one of my favorite in football, and I've never even been to it. Been to Lambeau, been to Levi's, been to Candlestick, been to CenturyLink, but I have not been to Tampa, and I grew up loving Pirates, and they have a freaking pirate ship in their stadium, and the cannons fire and go off when they score a touchdown. So that's something that's really cool. Have you guys, anybody, ever been to a WrestleMania? And sorry, James, yes, no love for Alabama. Sorry, not sorry. But we got a few people joining in on the chat. If anybody's been to a WrestleMania, I'd like to know which WrestleMania, and of course your experience there at that WrestleMania. And it is Power Rankings Day, so while you guys do that and chime in, I'm asking again if anybody's been to a WrestleMania. Let's see. James says he's a Tampa Bay fan. He said it's awesome, and I knew that it would be. I have no doubts that fans of Tampa Bay, even if they go 0-16, would not love that stadium. I feel like that's something that is you got to be there to see it, to experience it. So good on you being a Tampa Bay fan and for confirming what I already figured, which is that it's awesome. You'd probably like to have a winning season over a losing season because then the chances of more touchdowns and more cannon fire is likely. So, you want your team to play well. I'm not a fan of their uniforms, their new uniforms, though. If the linemen all get together, it looks like the high score of Pac-Man. There's something about that color scheme. It just doesn't work for me. And the numbers, the numerals, I don't know. Maybe James is a fan of those. Joe Fulford is also a fan of Tampa Bay. I think he's from Tampa Bay. He lives in Des Moines now, so he is a Gators fan in Des Moines, Iowa, cheering for the Barnstormers. All right, so it is Power Rankings Day. We have a whole new set of Power Rankings. Not a whole lot of movement, but enough, and I think you guys will understand why. So today's IFL Power Rankings, and let's see if we can do a little drum roll here. All right, at number 10, we have the San Diego Strike Force 0-6. It's tough to be a Strike Force fan, a Strike Force player, really. They've really been competitive. They've hung around in every game. Obviously, Arizona put up 91 points on them, and you can't really excuse that. But they have some playmakers. They have some really great talent on that team, and I hate to see them continue to lose. I feel like it's only a matter of time before they get their first one in the win column. So we'll see. Then at number 9, the Bucks of Bismarck. I almost said the Barks of Buzzmark. So the Bismarck Bucks, number 9, they're 0-5. They are getting better, just like San Diego. So only a matter of time before they get one in the win column as well, I believe. No movement for either of those two teams from last week. At number 8, again, no movement. It is the Cedar Rapids River Kings, played very, very close to the Iowa Barnstormers. I almost thought about moving them for the effort, but really, it was something that fourth quarter, man, the last half of that fourth quarter is where it all unraveled and fell apart. Their special teams, Markel Wade did a phenomenal job, and they were in that thing the whole way up until the very end. So they are number 8 at 1-5. Number 7, down 1 from the previous week. They're on a one-game skid here. It is the Tucson Sugar Skulls. They lost to the Nebraska Danger in another close game from the weekend. This team has a lot of question marks around it. How good are they? They have yet to beat a team with a winning record. Really, they have yet to beat a team that has won anything. Their 2 wins, or 2 of their 3 wins have been against teams with a combined now 0-11, the Bucks and the Strike Force. Then number 6, down 1 from last week, is the 2-4 Quad City Steamwheelers. This team is tough, and they've been on the bad end of luck the last couple of weeks against Green Bay, who have had phenomenal finishes. There's no other way to put it. There really isn't. And then we have the number 5 Nebraska Danger at 3-3, up 2 spots from last week. I felt that was well deserved for the way that they were able to hang in there and get it done. And Nebraska is a team that is lethal on offense, but now they're starting to get it done on defense as well. Brandon Rowe had an incredible game, 3 interceptions, unheard of really in the IFL. Number 4, no movement, the Green Bay Blizzard at 4-2, well deserved. Number 3, no movement again, the Sioux Falls Storm at 5-1. Number 2, again, no movement, the 5-0 reigning champion Iowa Barnstormers. And your number 1 for the second straight week this season is the 5-0 Arizona Rattlers, who got a season high of 91 points this last week, and that is just ridiculous. So there are your power rankings, and James says, yeah, the uniforms suck for Tampa Bay. Bismarck and San Diego. Let's go ahead and play a little game here. Who gets a win first between Bismarck and San Diego? And I'm looking at the schedule for this week, and I believe that one of them has a bye week. No, actually, they both play, and they're both at home. Bismarck will host the Iowa Barnstormers, and that'll be Sunday, the 14th. And then San Diego will host Cedar Rapids. I don't believe that'll be an easy task for either of them. I really don't. In fact, as much as people want to say that it's more likely to be the Strike Force getting a win over the Cedar Rapids River Kings, Cedar Rapids has had tough sledding with their schedule. They've played Sioux Falls, they've played Iowa, they've played Arizona. And San Diego has played several of those teams as well. And so I don't think that this is where you look at the one with a win in its category and say they're more susceptible to lose. But Bismarck has had a tough schedule as well, and I don't know personally if I really believe in the trap game, but if there ever was one in the IFL, them hosting the Iowa Barnstormers would certainly qualify, in my opinion. So we'll see. Your guys' thoughts as far as if you think Bismarck will win before San Diego. Could very well be this week. It may not. It could be San Diego's week. It could be Bismarck's week. We'll see. And I'm trying to remember. Let me check the schedule, see if they actually play each other, which would be interesting to see that happen. Let's see. Cedar Rapids hosts Bismarck next week. And let's see here. Okay, Bismarck and Quad City, San Diego and Arizona. Oh, let's see. Bismarck and Tucson, San Diego and Arizona again. Bismarck and Green Bay, and San Diego and Nebraska. I don't believe they play each other. So hopefully we wouldn't have had to wait for them to play each other to see a win from either of those. Hopefully they get a couple in the win column this week, or in the next couple. That'd be nice. Well, we'll see. So once again, WrestleMania, if you haven't been, go. I like starting out with story time. I thought that was a lot of fun. WrestleMania 28, though, if you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. It was probably one of my favorite WrestleManias ever. And not just because I was there. Like, we went because we knew that it was going to be a great WrestleMania. And then one more time, your power rankings, top to bottom. Number 1, Arizona. 2, Iowa. 3, Sioux Falls. 4, Green Bay. 5 is Nebraska. 6 is Quad City. 7 is Tucson. 8 is Cedar Rapids. 9 is Bismarck. And 10 is San Diego. And let's go ahead and congratulate our outstanding players of the week from week 7. We had on special teams Markel Wade. Again, phenomenal job there. Outstanding performance. Pun intended. He returned not 1 but 2 kicks for touchdowns and had, I believe, 170 yards grossed on kick returns, an average of about 20, and that was on 8 or 9 kick returns. But he had a great job, and I think that's the first time that a player has won a weekly performance award that was on the losing side, and that's never intended. I do know that the guys hate consolation prizes, but I do look at these performances, and sometimes, if it was the tiebreaker is, well, was this a contribution to a winning effort or a losing effort? Sometimes that'll be the deciding factor. But Markel Wade was second to none this week for Special Teams Player of the Week, and I really feel that is well-deserved on his part. Defense, Brandon Rowe, who got 3 interceptions, including the game clincher, the game winner, the game sealer. So congratulations to him. 3 tackles as well. But sometimes your stats aren't going to look beautiful across the board. Sometimes it's just that one that really stands out, and he had 3 of them, 3 interceptions. Very, very well done. And then finally, your outstanding offensive player of the week went to Green Bay quarterback Lenoris Footman. I felt he, again, a phenomenal job, outstanding performance. He had 6 touchdowns through the air, 2 on the ground, ridiculous amount of passing yards, over 200, and then 20 of 28, 71% of his passes were completed. So that will do it for the headlines portion of the program. Don't forget, we do have an all-new episode tomorrow to be our preview episode. We'll go over the games in the IFL and now the NAL. But before that, we have Coach Billy back of the Carolina Cobras after their big TV deal was announced yesterday. Now we're going to talk about what the reigning champs face as far as their attempt to repeat in the NAL as champions. So don't forget to go ahead and click that link wherever it is for you so you can hear the rest of the interview and the episode in its entirety. And thank you all very much for joining me here on Facebook Live. We do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. So enjoy my conversation with head coach Billy Back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now, he is the head coach of your reigning, defending, undisputed National Arena League champions for 2018, looking to repeat. It's Billy Back. Welcome back, Coach. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Doing good.
Yeah, busy days, daddy duty coaching, and then daddy duty. But it sounds like you got a good system there at least.
Yeah, we got a routine. I wouldn't say it's a good system. It's just a routine that we're kind of getting used to. So, well, I've caught up on all Blaze episodes and SpongeBob, and so I'm all set. I'm all caught up with those cartoons for the week.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you're getting cultured with the younger generation, though. That's an important thing for your kids and you guys to have that connection in life. But I feel for you. I'm sure you've probably heard Baby Shark more than you've wanted to lately.
On the way to school this morning, we actually had a bird outside our window this morning, and my wife can attest to this. That was like going. And I was listening to it, I was like, what kind of bird is that? And she's like, Baby Shark, do-do-do-do. I was like, oh, my gosh, the exact tune it was singing. So it must have been a baby bird in the bird's nest singing the Baby Shark song or something.
Wow.
Because, I mean, it was, we sat there and laughed at it. Like, it was like 6 a.m. this morning. I was like, oh, my gosh, that is the Baby Shark song. And the bird is tweeting it. So funny you brought that up.
Well, that's funny. That's probably going to be my favorite moment from this week. But I'm glad that you guys have a routine. You get back into your favorite routine, though, this week, as you guys have your season opener. On the road, though, you guys weren't lucky enough to draw Champions Advantage and host your season opener at home. You will have that game and the banner drop the following week, but old rivalry renewed for a second season when you travel up to Boston. Your team, though, is taking some hits on the roster, guys, going to the AFL, which great for them. Obviously, they're professionals, and they should get paid and, like professionals and have that opportunity. But for you as a coach, how hard has this offseason been for you? I'm guessing bittersweet's probably a word, but what's been your focus to make sure that you can still replicate last year's magic?
Well, I mean, it's been a long off season, with the uncertainties and and the other talks and stuff that was going on, and then building the roster to prepare to compete against the best, and then all of a sudden your guys that you've recruited, that you talked to and reached out to and got signed with you, get signed late by a different league. It's almost like doing the recruiting for them. And it gets kind of old because we actually do. We post our postings, we start before them, and they cherry pick just to fill their rosters and whatnot. But it's great for the players to get the opportunity to do those things. But at the same time, you always want to be able to put the team on the field that you recruited in the off season and see how well you do. And I feel like we'd be pretty good with the guys we had. But at the same time, the guys we've brought in, late additions in camp. When those guys were moved up, I feel like they're just as good, and they're real good. We got some good players. We got to fill the shoes of Laughing House and Barnett. Those guys are big time players for us. So was Squally. We were excited about getting Hagen here as well. Young receiver and kid named B.J. Bunn. So we had a good group of guys that we were excited about to add to the mix. Kenny Veal, another defensive back, who'll probably be starting up there for Columbus. But at the same time, it's like you put another battery into the remote control car, and it runs the exact same. So that's our plan, is to get these young guys coached up and on the same page with our quarterback, and getting Fabian back the other day has boosted our receiving core. Jolly's still on point. These young guys we have, like Kyron Priester or Joe Morrow, or an Eric Brown, was looking good in camp. Lovey Rose as well, that we're excited about in camp. James Summers came in and added some pieces to the puzzle for us. So we're excited about the young guys we got and plugging them in, just getting them to learn the system and how we do things offensively. It's not like other people run their offense. It's, we're a little difficult to get from the beginning, but simple once you figure it out. But defensively, probably the best defensive line we've had. We're excited. Big Walt's put on some muscle this off season, shed some baby fat, body weight. I mean, he's bigger, badder than I've ever seen him. So it's going to be fun to see these guys. It's going to be going against him at center and nose, and talk all you want, but when the lights turn on, it's a different story, and we'll see how it happens. So we're pretty excited. It's going to be a good coaching season for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, obviously, anytime that you face adversity of any kind, off-season, preseason, during the season, or otherwise, it's a testament to your staff, your front office, your coaching, and then, of course, your players' ability to step up, be that next man up. So for you, though, I've never known you to be a guy that gets scabs for his team, spot fillers on a roster. You're a guy that goes after what you feel is true, genuine talent, instead of just a guy that's out there and available, and you might as well. So when you lose a guy like a Nick Hague, or like Pasquale Vacchio, or any of your receivers like Laughing House or Barnett, is it that you go to your stack of resumes that you have of guys that didn't make the team that round, or do you say, this week's a new week, it's different than it was a week ago, let's see what's out there as a whole?
Well, yeah, I mean, you want to try to find a guy that's that kind of similar player to the guy you lost. You want to be able to add that, plug that piece back in. And so we went and tried to find a guy like Laughing House. Lovey Rose is that style receiver. So is Kai Priester. They're 6'1", 190, 6'2", 190 guys that can fly. That can go get it. Laughing House is that same way. Barnett, slow. I'm gonna cuss. He's slow as shit. And but I love him. He's actually about a 4'6". But at the same time, Phillips, that big body receiver that catches everything, has sure hands, gets open, and can get some yak after the catch. And so you want that possession receiver that can also make the big play down the field. Phillip could. So we went out and looked for those type of guys. Our hopes is we don't get them back. We don't want them back for their sake. We want them to, succeed at the next level and continue getting paid, and someday be on that Dan Radaball and Tommy Grady state, and get paid, $150,000 on the season. I'm not sure what Dan makes. I joke about it, but they made Tommy's public last year, so you get to see what he makes, and good for him. That's what you want guys to get. to be that good, that value to where the team reaches out and says, hey, we want to keep you here. We're going to pay you X amount of dollars. I'm sure Joe Hill gets paid well, which he should. He's pretty good. Malachi Jones, he's not going to go up there for jump change. These are what we want our guys to be and become the next guys. And so we go look for the next guy to become that next guy. So, we're not looking for a guy to fill a spot for 2 weeks. We're looking for a guy to help win a championship over 17 weeks. And the guys we have, we're excited about. Now, are they the best? No, they've got a learning curve. They got to get better. I think right now the biggest problem we have is we don't catch the ball 100% of the time. We may catch it 90% of the time, but we need to catch it 100%. I feel like our team last year caught the ball an awful lot. Not many drops, and that's been like that every year. We've had a few drops here and there over the years, but for the most part, it's on a 98% catch rate. And last year, I think we got that. We made some big time catches at Mass. We made some big time catches against Columbus. We've played well, but at the same time, we got to have that next guy step up. So, I wouldn't say it's frustrating. It's actually, that's the kind of part you love. You look at Jacksonville's roster. They brought in a bunch of new guys to the roster, so I think you have like 2 or 3 returners. Same thing with Columbus. He's starting with a fresh deck. New York has a new hand, dealing to them. Orlando. So this is kind of going to be a fun year throughout the NAL because everybody has kind of a newer roster. Baines and Jacksonville, but they also got a new quarterback, Mike Faffel from UCLA, who's pretty damn good, and I heard he might be the best one there. So these new people coming into the league is I might have pronounced his name wrong, something like that. He's from UCLA, but you got these new faces in this league that can be players. Cody Saul's coming into his own this season. He was a heck of a player last year. You could tell he was young, but he's going to be a playmaker. I can tell you right now, he's going to be a playmaker for the Jacksonville Sharks. So you kind of get excited to watch these young guys play, in the other games, and you're watching film to see how they do, how they do. Chris Gilchrist, another receiver, that pretty exciting to watch. So, I want to see the quarterback battle up in New York. I think Brian Hicks is a great quarterback. David LeGree, I don't think he ever played indoor ball before, and if I got to pick blind, I'd think Hicks would be a starter up there. From what I hear, he's got the reads down pat. So we'll see how that works. So all across the NAL is going to be a new regimen of players, young guys coming in, and that's what this league's about. It's a stepping stone. It's a resume builder, and it's an opportunity for young guys to get seen and make the advancement. And if an old guy's local, he stays put and can play. So we're excited to see what we have and see what they have. It's going to be a great season, with that two new added teams. So, I can't wait to get this thing started.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very entertaining season. And for you guys, obviously, entertainment value has increased because Schmidt was able to land that TV deal yesterday. Now, you're a coach, and not that it matters much to you, but is there any kind of, added pressure or different kind of pressure going into your second year, knowing that you guys were able to accomplish what not many expansion teams are able to in their first year, but now you guys have this TV deal, you want to make the fans happy, bring them back, pack the house, and you've got some new faces on the roster. Like, what's year 2 been like in your mind?
Well, I know now we'll have live cameras there, and I can't pick my nose or pick a wedge, I can't, or I got to watch I can't really enunciate words that I yell at the officials or, the other team. I got to kind of mumble those things or put the card in front of my face. But I think it's an exciting thing for Schmidt to get that done. I mean, I think it's great for the players. Now they're getting a TV brand, a TV copy of the game for their film purposes. It's going to give awareness out to the Piedmont Triad area, the Greensboro area. It's going to allow us to get our advertising dollars worth more because now our partners are going to be on television. They're going to be seen by more than just the 35 to 4,000 that we have inside the Coliseum. And so I think it's exciting, to have that TV timeout, to actually have it be on TV. Will be pretty neat, So I'm excited about it, and to try to repeat. That's the goal. I mean, that's the same goal the Lions have or the Jacksonville Sharks have. Every year, your goal is to repeat and to win a championship or at least get back to the championship. And it's one game at a time. It's hard. You want to try to overlook and look at your roster, but at the same time, the first game coming up is going to be tough. And we play the Massachusetts Pirates, who on paper have a pretty good roster. There's no secret to what they've been doing to get these players up there, but at the same time, they still have to play the game. They're very talented, and they got the reigning MVP at quarterback who can drop dimes. Devin Brown can run routes. Marty Gilliard, Von Pearson, the receiving core returning. That's there, crybaby right next to him. That you are going to know the offense and be able to play it and play at a high level. So it's a pressure packed opportunity this coming weekend, but at the same time, it's why you do it. It's why you play, because we're expecting to win. We're expecting to play well, and we expect our guys to come out and win the game.
Yeah, and obviously that's the mindset, like you said, for all the teams in the AF or the NAL, and you've got a brand new team, the New York Streets. You've got a team that's returning from a bit of a hiatus in the Orlando Predators. I really like the landscape makeup of this year, and I think it's going to be really competitive. I'm excited to try my best to do some top 10 highlights for the week for the NAL once you guys get started up. But, I only caught you picking your nose a couple of times last year, so I don't think you got anything to worry about there. But it sounds like you've been watching some Iowa games on the YouTube feed because they've got hot mics for their coaches.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be mic'd up a couple games, but his nose is so big, I got to either pick it or rub it every once in a while so he catches lightning bugs.
So what's your speech going into the first game being an away game for your squad, knowing that there's a lot of new faces there and that this is your first outing as champs?
I think it's just going to be, just have fun. Most important thing is we go in there and we don't play, tight. We don't play that, we're nervous. We just have fun. The expectations, all the talk in the offseason has been about, other teams and what they're bringing in, who they got. And, at the end of the day, it's 0-0. Everybody's fighting for the trophy. The 2019 trophy is up for grabs. We got the 18 trophy. The 2019 trophy is up for grabs. So just have fun, relax. You can't go out there and shit on yourself because we'll be wearing all white. So you better get it together early and, bring your A game. We're driving all the way to Massachusetts. It's going to be a pretty good crowd, I bet. And it's going to be a slugfest.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see it. The games all start Saturday, and I'm trying to remember if the website has it in my local time or if it's in Eastern time. So what time, your time, does kickoff happen for you? Is it 7 or 1?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Okay, so the website is in my time, Pacific time, for whatever reason. So, all right. Massachusetts Pirates host the Carolina Cobras at 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific, and it's the champs. They're on the road, and Billy Back is looking to start the road to repeat, and I wish you the best of luck, Coach. I'm sure I'll see you in Greensboro later on this season, but I'll be watching from home this opening weekend, and I hope you guys have a good outing up there.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. You take care of yourself. Don't wear yourself out too much with the baby, and, if you find yourself humming Baby Shark, I won't think any less of you.
I got about an hour left of daddy duty, and then I'm back to the office. So.
Back to the office. All right.
My 2-hour daddy duty period is almost up.
Oh, counting down the minutes. All right, Coach. You take care of yourself. You have a good day.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And one more time, thank you to Coach Billy Back of the Carolina Cobras for joining us here on the Fan Show as we get ready for Week 8 in the IFL, Week 1 in the NAL, and of course the AFL is up to stuff right now. They revealed their uniforms. Connor Ferguson of Last Word on Sports actually did uniform grades for all the teams right now. I'm personally a fan of the Brigade. Is it the Baltimore Brigade? I think they got a sharp look. Blackjacks look pretty good too, but I'm a sucker for red and black. And there was a few others. Washington Valor, very clean look. Sioux Falls, Philadelphia Soul. There we go. Sioux, whatever. The Philadelphia Soul. I love their logo. I really do. It's one of my favorite logos in all of sports. But I'm not a fan of these uniforms. The first time around, they feel too Omaha beefy for my taste. If you don't know who the Omaha Beef are, go and look them up, check them out. Not my favorite uniform ever, but. Yeah, solid looks for all of them. They're made by F.A.N Elite, the new partnership for the AFL, so go and check those out on the AFL's website or on their social media, and of course, F.A.N Elite and AFL for the Arena Football League. So tomorrow we've got our preview day. We will preview the games for Week 8 of the IFL as well as the Week 1 of the NAL. And we should have another special guest. I'm looking at one of the players of the week, so that should be a lot of fun. And don't forget to follow us on social media. @FanShowOfficial is the Twitter handle, and it's also Facebook.com/FanShowOfficial. Give us a like, a share, a listen. And if you can't listen live, if you can't tune in on the Facebook Live, then please go ahead and subscribe. iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And, of course, we broadcast live from Spreaker.com every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. So thank you once again, Fan Nation, for the love. Instagram is the Fan Show. You can see all of our content that we have available in one way or another, and links to everything in case you missed it in one way, shape, or form. So again, hit us up on social media. If you need anything, reach out to me. Email richard@thefanshow.com, or you can message me on Twitter or tweet me, because I believe I have to be following you and you have to be following me in order for us to message each other. But you can message me on Facebook and through Instagram as well. So there's several ways to get a hold of me. If you have an idea for the show, a guest request, or anything that you would like discussed, we can certainly do that here by fan request right here on the Fan Show. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.